There's Tina Meeks. Oh my. I got chills going up and down my spines on what you did with that one. I like that. Peace and love and dreams. Gosh, that's fabulous. Okay, well, here we are. And as Reverend Debbie said, usually once a year I do the question and answers at the beginning of the year. But people ask throughout the course of the years, do it again, do it again. And so I thought it's perfect time. Our kids are going back to school. Seaside, we are creating the classes to go back to deepen our spiritual connection and the integration of that into our life. The classes look fabulous. Make sure you sign up for one that you haven't experienced. It will just enrich your life and your world. Life just works better when you're in class, is what we say around here. And so it's a wonderful time, I thought, to do question and answers, since many have been asking for me to do it again. And so the way this works is you ask questions, and I trust that Spirit gives me some answers for you. But here's the context for your questions. I'd like them to be kept short and not storytelling. So I don't want your story. I just want, call it telescopic brevity with your questions. Just laser it on in, ask it, and I may repeat it so everybody can hear it. Or maybe Steve, I see he has a mic in his hand. Maybe he'll run around and share with you the microphone. So you're pointing somebody, and so you have any questions? Here we go. Yes, well, we go. Janice and then Gina.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, I'm glad you're back.
Well, it's good to be back.
Yay.
I missed you.
Good.
All of you.
Too. All of you. Yeah, we're all happy. So when you were in your process in Montana, and there's all the stuff coming in and all that, I would like to know, as a doctor of spirituality,
Uh-oh.
how did you deal with it?
Okay.
What was your process? How did you get to that point that it was okay? Or
All
was
right.
it not okay?
So besides hacking and squirming and griping and complaining, because that's the natural human experience, I will share with you my prayerful approach. It's like the easiest one, but it's also very difficult. Rather than telling God to clean out the basin or the valley, or calling in the north winds to blow, or the skies to cry, or all the wonderful Native American practices, because others were handling that, my spiritual approach to healing, whether it's dealing with the grandiosity of nature or whether it's dealing with the minor scratches in my world, I work, when I'm doing my personal prayer work, on just knowing God. I have found, and this is what Ernest Holmes shares right at the very beginning of his book, The Science of Mind, it is a realization of God and nothing else. And so in the midst of the fog, and I can see the metaphors of my life, I can't see, and my eyes burn, all that. But in the midst of all that, I go to the realization of God. So if I'm working in my life and there's pain or there's discomfort or there's challenge with finances or health or the obscured skies, I just go to a realization of God. So I went and sat underneath my trees. I went to my mountaintop. And I just, rather than complaining about how horrible it is, I just come to realize God. And in that kind of setting, you still can see the trees, you can see the lakes, and you can see the beauty, and it's easy to see God. But what I want to share with you is no matter what the challenge is in our life, whether it is huge or small, and we say there is no large or small in the mind of God because it's all God, is just what I just do is I move to the realization of God. I go grace, gratitude, love, peace, and I just sit there until I become that vibration and there can be nothing else. And I figure that contributes to whatever's going on in a positive way as opposed to adding to the toxicity that's out there. So, thanks. Yeah. Uh-huh. All right. Thank you for asking that. Yeah, Gina.
Thank you, Steve. Is it possible to be Christian and also be a member of religious science?
Great question, absolutely. And so one of the things that I like to say, or the cliche or the phrase I use, is that religious science, the science of mind, is inclusively Christian. It's just not exclusively. And when I say that, it's really the teachings of the man Jesus about love and forgiveness and understanding and the connection. Who sees me sees the one that sent me. That sense of oneness. Those are beautiful, universal spiritual truths that came through Christianity, but they also tend to come through other religions also. And so some of the challenges with religion, though, is that it has these doctrines and these creeds and these human approaches to doing spirituality, which I feel kind of get in the way of coming to the realization. It all comes back to experiencing that divine presence, that life force, that from which we were created. And so that is the beauty of religious science. It's inclusive of Christian, Judaism, takes the Buddhist philosophy, and it's that common thread of truth that you'll see in Hinduism. Or it's the spiritual practices of yoga or Tai Chi. It's that vibration of feeling the presence of God. So where that beautiful lessons of truth show up, that's what, we've got that as part of us, but we're not exclusively that. And when you get into the rules on this is how it's supposed to be, we believe that there's many ways to the mountaintop and that it's not exclusive, that it's only one. So, thanks. Hey, all right. How about this side of the room? Any questions over here? Hey, Dave Kennedy, nice treatment this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Christian. There's terms that sort of go around the science of mind and religious science, and one term is new thought, and the other term is new age. Mm-hmm. And what is the difference?
I will tell you what is the difference between new thought and new age. But I also want to just clarify some of the terminology we're throwing about religious science, science of the mind, centers for spiritual living. So you just have a clear understanding, because they're all, in a sense, a name for the one philosophy. But Centers for Spiritual Living is the name of really the organization, in a sense. And it shifted into that about maybe 10 years ago, and it just is more embracing and welcoming and a little bit more honest as to what it is in terms of a center for spiritual living. And so out on the streets, one sees Center for Spiritual Living as opposed to another name for a spiritual community. So where Centers for Spiritual Living is the name of the organizational aspect, Science of Mind is what it is we teach. And the book that Ernest Holmes wrote was called The Science of Mind in 1927. And so that is the teaching, is the science of mind, and we're religious scientists. And so we're religious scientists practicing the science of mind in an organization called Centers for Spiritual Living. So in terms of understanding of the jargon, I wanted to clarify that. And so is there a difference between New Age and New Thought? Absolutely. New Age, they say, is the fastest growing social order in the U.S., and people practicing all different modalities to bring forth the expression of spirit. And the different practices, we support anybody who's finding their peace and their answers and their connection with Source through their spiritual practices. And so New Age includes the many different modalities that we have fun playing with, whether it is, the astrology or the tarot or the I Ching or the hands-on or just many wonderful different practices in which spirit can show up. And oftentimes the practice becomes the jumping place into a deeper place. But there is a difference. New Thought, 150 years ago, William James says that New Thought is America's unique contribution to the world body of theology. It's not the Christian Judaic Abrahamic philosophy. It is not the Eastern philosophy. New Thought operates in the realm of mind, and that's why we call it New Thought. It doesn't use all those other modalities that I just alluded to. New Thought operates solely in the realm of consciousness. We don't have to lay on hands. Not that laying on hands is wrong or that it doesn't work, but our operation of bringing forth spirit into expression is solely through consciousness. We believe that we are of that spirit. Spirit is infinite. It is everything, and that is the truth. There is this divine essence that in the beginning was spirit, and there was nothing else. And so the truth is, if you believe, infinite plus nothing leaves infinite, or 1 plus 0 leaves 1, then the truth is everything is of spirit. So I am of that, you are of that. We're not all of it, but all that we are is of that. And so what we believe, it is through thought, through consciousness, through alignment, through awareness, that we become that vortex, that avenue, that transparency, that spot in which spirit can begin to take form. And so what we work with solely is in the realm of mind and consciousness, to be able to connect with that higher aspect of ourself, of our being, of that presence, and be able to express that, which brings me back to your great question, is how do I handle when there's something out of alignment and that's not looking like God? I go back to the divine realization and realize that there's a separation, that there's a schism, that there's something that is operating that is unlike the wonderful flow of spirit. And I work on healing that through a direct realization and revelation and realization of the presence of God. And that is done in the realm of thought. And so what we do is we operate solely in the realm of thought, and maybe within the consciousness you're led to the best surgeon that is out there who becomes the hands of God in operation on your physical well-being, or maybe you just come into alignment and your body corrects itself. But through thought and through consciousness, you know what is the best modality and the best path in which you are to take as an individual to support the expression of spirit in your life. And so through thought, what we do is we experience the healing, the transformation, the revelation, the abundance, the guidance, and all those things. And I do not need an intermediary, meaning I do not need a person, I do not need a guru, I do not need a saint, and I do not need a little pendulum either to tell me what the truth is. Not that there's anything wrong with any of those unless you give your power away to it. And that's one of the things that we work strongly with in religious science, is reclaiming your power. Too often what we watch is people give their power away to something outside of themselves. And what we want to do is be able to reclaim that power and recognize that there is an essence, a higher wisdom, an intelligence that is innate in each and every one of us, and we want to learn to hear that and be in touch with that and have that lead us as we walk in life, and not think that it is something outside that's going to give us our answer. For you, your best answers lies within you. So yes, there's a difference between new thought and new age. New age, wonderful modalities of healing and all sorts of, it's a very eclectic philosophy. New thought is very clear. We operate in the realm of thought, we operate in the realm of consciousness, and solely there that is our realm. So when one goes to a spiritual practitioner, they get a spiritual mind treatment. They operate in the realm of mind, the spiritual mind of spirit expressing. So there you go. Yeah. Good. Thanks for the question. Yeah, Brian.
So I know that your father was a successful movie actor.
Mm-hmm.
Your mom was a practitioner to a lot of the movie stars.
Mm-hmm.
I'd just like to hear a little bit of some of your experiences which brought about the evolution of yourself as a minister.
Okay, well, let's see. Actually, both my parents, they owned an acting workshop in Hollywood in the 50s. It was called the Actors Workshop. So they had me on the stage of the Hollywood Palladium by the age of 3. I was born to be a ham. And so as a kid, I did the modeling and the plays and the shows and some of the documentaries or industrial films, what they call them. So I grew up, around that. My dad used to listen to Ernest Holmes back in the 50s. And so both my parents became religious science practitioners. And as you mentioned, my mom was very successful. She used to see 40 clients a week. And she did that for 30 years. And so they would line up to come see my mom. And what was also interesting, a model, so I saw that as a model. So what I know are spiritual practitioners make a profound difference in people's lives. Growing up, I saw healing after healing and healing take place. So what it began to do was seep into my consciousness that this kind of work is natural and that it is normal for people to go and whether they were putting together, deals that were worth hundreds of millions. I even remember $1 billion prison deal she was working on once with somebody, or people who had diagnosis that they wouldn't live, and there they were seeing her 10 years later. I knew healing was the natural state, and I grew up in that era where there were a lot of healers in Hollywood and the psychics and the channelers, so I began to be very open to that which was beyond the physical. She was the head of the president of the astrology buff club in Hollywood in like 69 and 70. So people like Jess Stern and those folks would come by our house. And so we'd watch these individuals play and dabble in different realms of consciousness. And so at an early age, I began to, you follow them as a kid. You begin to see what they're seeing that is beyond the physical, or at least you imagine you're making up or something that, yeah, I can track them and all of that. And so when I was 16, I went into the first year Science of Mind class. And that's when the first year was really a year. It wasn't done in 10 weeks like I'm offering. I'll give you the fast track version. Boom, 10 weeks and you're out. Give you all the basics. You want to be there Tuesday nights. Nice pitch, huh? And then, in 17, I took the second year class when it was really a year. And then in my final year in high school, there was a third year in a consciousness course. And so I had I grew up around the philosophy, watching what was going on. When I went off to college, I went to Cal State Northridge, where this Godspell, the folks are coming from Godspell. You talk about an edgy video. Oh my goodness, it's just it's not our parents' Godspell for sure. And so I was doing drama there, and I ran off to New Zealand, never to return. Devastating, my mom seeing her little boy, which lasted all of 2 months. So parents, don't worry if your kid's got to run away from life forever. But it was down there that I caught the vision of my life. I mean, I saw it's hard to explain, but I can remember sitting under this rock and looking out at my life and seeing myself under these lights and this stage looking out at you. But I saw this when I was 19 years old. It was like I was here looking out, and when I got here looking out, I was back remembering when I saw it was just a strange kind of thing. And so at 79 came back, I enrolled in the school of ministry because that was my influence. Stage and spirituality, and the modality was set up for ministerial school because my parents had graduated from that. And so I remember my dad sitting down with the dean of the school of ministering, and being he was an actor, he had this big presence that people just kind of, I don't know, got tongue-tied around or something. But he sat down with the dean and said, "You will take my son into the school of ministry, right?" Okay. And that's how it happened. 82, I became a minister at the age of 22, and just been loving the gifts of life. And it is something that has called forth my ability to stand and to share, to channel, to be that presence, to know that which I see is the physical realities, but there is something that is far beyond this realm. That seeks to express itself. And I've seen over and over and over through the decades healing and healing and healing. So I have a deep conviction that my parents started inside of me with healing. But it just gets stronger and stronger, and it's become unshakable. So when things don't shift in the way I am speaking, I remind myself how I started this conversation. My only real job is to go into the God realization and know that the highest and best is manifesting here, and that I can let go of the way I think it has got to be and know that the air will clear itself in the God timing. It's been doing so for millenniums, for eons. Spirit knows how to take care of things. It guides the universe, guides the galaxy. It knows how to take care of my life. So if I can just get my stressful, amped out perspective out of the way and just move into that God realization, I can walk with a greater sense of comfort and a sense of a little more relaxed. So that's how I was influenced. So, thanks. Another question here for me. Yes, Bob.
Christian, I just had a quick question. What is Science of Mind's philosophy on heaven and hell?
Okay, well, Science of Mind's philosophy on heaven and hell, that it's not a physical locale, that rather they're states of consciousness, and the cliche is you're living in it now. You're living in heaven now, or you're living in hell now. And that you get to change your state of consciousness, you get to change your approach, and you will continue to unfold in the direction in which you're moving, because what we believe is cause and effect and an unfoldment in life. And so, if you're living a life where you're just filled with agitation, even though it may look good to everybody else, but if on the inside, you've got stuff going on and you're on an internal hell, you're going to continue to experience that as you continue to move through life. But at any moment, you can step off that karmic wheel. You're not bound by the karma, and you're not bound by the law of cause and effect. You live in the eternal now, which means at any moment you can set a new causative factor in motion, or you can continue to defend while your life is so miserable and messed up. I mean, I'm serious. I listen time and time again to listen. Slow down. I listen time and time again to people defending why their life doesn't work. They will tell me how miserable things are and what the doctors have told them, and this is the way it is. And I realize, of course, because you're defending that. It's going to continue to be that. But what I want to remind people is at any moment that they can step out of their hell, their discomfort, just simply by shifting their thought, their thinking. And life responds to that because our world is the unfoldment of our consciousness. It is the manifestation of the energetic in which you're putting out and you're stepping into. So yes, you can tell me why life doesn't work and how difficult it is, and here is the evidence. And you have the opportunity to say, you know what? I'm going to take a new tact, a new perspective. So that's our perspective. It's not a locale. There's states of consciousness, and you're in it now. Are you in heaven? Are you in hell? And if you're in hell and you don't like it, then get out of it. I've listened to amazing stories of people incarcerated who had horrendous things happen in life that had every reason to say why they were in hell, or what happened to their kids, or what have you, and they choose not to be. It's truly choice. The story of a couple of sisters raised in a family where there was just physical violence and molestation, and just not a healthy projection into life. And one of the daughters ended up becoming a prostitute and drugs and just difficult challenges with the law and life, and blamed it on her family environment. And the other one chose to become a powerful executive of a strong company, a wonderful family relationship. And as a result, she said, because of my childhood, I chose not to perpetuate that or have that show up in my life anymore. And so it's not the experience that's going on in our life, it's how we choose to deal with it. So, thank you. All right. Gina, last one here.
That was a great answer. Thank you for that.
Yes.
I have a lot of people in my life who ask me what it is that I go and do every Sunday, and these are people who have never heard of religious science, never heard of consciousness. So what's just a really, really quick elevator speech that I can give to people who have no idea what it is that we do here? What can I tell them I do every Sunday, or what this is?
Right. Well, the beauty, people can do their spirituality by themselves, but what you can't do by yourself is community. And that's the blessing. There is a magic that comes when we all come together. Your presence here creates what happens on Sunday morning. And we create a collective experience of the joy of the music, the experience of the music in the conversation. And so what I like to say is that it allows me to practice my spirituality in community with people of like minds. As one becomes part of a spiritual community, you find people that think like you, that want to play in realms in which you play, who want to do life. And all of a sudden, when you're walking this path with individuals that share this common vibration of spirituality, that you are in control of your life, that you're not a victim to what is going on, that this earth really isn't going to fall apart, because you know what, I'm going to become socially active with individuals that believe in becoming socially active from a spiritual perspective, not from a perspective of, this is horrible, but you know what, it is our time to step forward and to carry things to a new level. And so coming together in spiritual community with people of like minds gives you an opportunity to walk through this world with individuals who think like you, that act like you, who have some common interests as you, that have the same conversation. Because what's interesting to me is I'm surrounded by all you guys. This is what I do. I live and I breathe this spirituality with all of you. But it's not uncommon for me to hear stories of individuals who are out there in this workplace or in a world that are not surrounded by people of spiritual thinking, that are miserable, that are horrible, that say nasty things, that act in ways that are just unkind and uncaring and unconscious, and live with fear and trepidation. The stock market falls and it's the end of the world. Armageddon is here, and all these things. And then there's individuals who hear that Wayne Dyer has made his transition, and there is a blessing and a remembrance of this profound individual who made a difference on this planet, and people are familiar with this guy, and they realize that he's moving on, and we've been touched, and it's not sad, and so it's and with that you get to help bring it out and stretch the envelope. So individuals are wondering where you're going. Say, well, come check it out, See what it is that's so good. This music, you leave here, I don't know what the guy said, but I leave there feeling pretty good on Sunday mornings. And so that's the thing, is there is a shift of feeling that is almost oftentimes ineffable, that it can't be described, but you walk out of here with an upliftment. And when your cells in your physical body are just vibrating at a different kind of level, there's a healing that is going on. There's a life force that is moving through you. There's something that physiologically as well as emotionally and spiritually that take place when we come together and just surrender our movement through life with our personal energy and just become receptive to the Holy Spirit, to the presence of God, to the divine realization. And maybe in these moments there are openings where there is just a true surrender to something that allows me to just know with an unshakable conviction that life's okay, that we are going to continue to move forward, and that my world is blessed, and that I am reminded that grace is the natural state, and that being happy is okay, and that in the world in which I live, and people are flipping out and freaking out and all those things, I can walk through with a sense of peace and well-being. And it doesn't matter what people say to try to knock me off center. And because who you are, you become a spiritual leader in that environment just by bringing that vibration of well-being, of connectedness, of peace into a world where there is franticness. So it's invaluable for you to step out into the world and to bring the light, but to come back and remember this is a place where you get to receive it and get recharged. It's like filling up your Tesla. You got to charge it up, and then you go out there and everybody goes, wow, as you go by. But you got to go back and plug it in, you know? And so that's you. So I love you on that. So anyway, hey, I just got warmed up. Come back for the second service because they're all going to be different. And this is what we do in classes. And it's just fabulous to be able to share Sundays with you. I missed you so much. What's it like if you'd come here? I can't imagine not being here. I actually was watching live streaming from Montana the other morning. So, hey, Tina, Tina and I have been doing this together for more than 20 years, probably close to 25 years now. It's just been a wonderful, loving relationship. So come on back and give us some more. Tina Meeks.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Mostly thank you for that. It was just so enlightening, wasn't it? Let's give him a hand again. Oh, really. As we all know, Wayne Dyer passed away last week. And it's just been with me so much that he gave us all. So I want to dedicate this song to his life. When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well, it is well with my soul. Ooh, I'm giving you a chance to play. With my soul. He's like, no, it's your turn. And it is my turn. It is well. It is well with my soul. you, Robert. It's beautiful. It is well with my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul. And Lord, haste the day when the faith shall be sight. The clouds be rolled back as a scroll. The trump shall resound, and the Lord shall descend. Even so, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul.
That's Tina Meeks. Woo. Thank you, Tina. Wow. All's well with my soul. I like that. See, that's all you got to do. If you want healing, you just sit there and that vibrate, and that's what heals. You sit there and know, and it's so. Hey, this is the time of our service where we have the opportunity to unite together in the givingness and the sharing of our offering and our love. And know that as you give, it comes back. It's not why you give, but that's how it works. That is the causative factor. That's what you set out. That's what shows up in your life. And so as we remember Spirit first, what happens is Spirit remembers its expression in our life first, in spite of anything else. So listen to your heart. Give with a sense of gratitude and appreciation for your spiritual connection, your spiritual realization. And so with that, I want to invite our ushers to come forward at this time and say thank you to this wonderful crew, and thank you to those that mail in your contributions when you can't be here on a Sunday. Thank you to those that participate in the auto tithe program, that regular systematic support from your world into Seasides. And I share this prayer of appreciation and gratitude with the most generous of spiritual communities, knowing that the blessed moment of God is upon us here and now. For the divine unfolds His expression through each and every one of us in ever-growing and increasing kinds of ways. For the blessings of Spirit truly finds its life as our life, and we become a place where we're able to surrender any of the blocks that deny the greater good with the questioning mind, and just begin to open up with a deeper trust and a faith and a conviction of that infinite expression of God, that wonderful flow of Spirit that particularizes its touch as our life, as we continue to be that place where Spirit expresses in new and expanding ways, where we find new and expanding ways of Spirit showing up in our life in which it has not heretofore done. So with joy, We take that which has blessed our world and we send it forth to Spirit, knowing that it continues to go forth and bless all those it comes in contact. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this opportunity to pause and to remember the truth. And so it is. Amen. And together, let us say this affirmation of abundance, which is, Spirit continues to bless my world. Gratefully, I live as the giving expression of Spirit, opening the floodgates of the affluent flow of greater good as my life now. The guys from Seaside, nice job. And so as I stand before this abundant expression of love, I can truly feel the grace of God expressing through each and every one. For each has become that divine realization of the abundant flow of Spirit. And I know our individual lives have been blessed and enriched. And I know truth for Seaside is because of this love that enriches the individual lives, it blesses and enriches Seaside as a whole. So these gifts are taken in love and good stewardship and sent forth back into action in life, bringing the blessings to all that comes in contact. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this opportunity to pause and remember the true source of all. So it is. Amen. All right. Hey, this is Steve Grant. He's the head usher and greeter on Sunday mornings here. Always open to people helping out at the door. A great spot to meet new folks. So let's see. There you are. Tina, just fabulous. Just love doing Sundays with you. Wonderful songs. Put chills up and down my spine. So wonderful cohort. Rebecca Jade, wonderful. And I'm just so proud of Rebecca. Today, after the second service, she's driving up to L.A. to do a gig at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, where they have over 1,500 seats pre-sold for her. That's a big. So, and make sure you vote for her for San Diego's Best Artist of the Year. Marv's got that in your program if you want to know where you can vote. So, Reverend Deb, always a joy to share Sundays with you, and thanks for keeping an eye on things while I was gone. Appreciate it. Giving us sound today is Matthew. Giving us the visuals is Marv. Great job back there. No CDs are available right after the service. And there's Timothy live streaming this to the world, and I appreciate it. I was able to watch. So lots going on. I want to say thank you to the flowers to Deb Johnson, who made her transition just before I left. Her family just gave the flowers and invites all of you to her Celebration of Life service. That's this Friday. So if you want to be part of that, I would love to have you. And thank you to the family for the beautiful flowers for sure. Big news is classes are starting up at Seaside, so you heard me talk about that. Sign up. Would love to have everybody involved in a class and deepening their walk with Spirit in a conscious kind of way. Pick up your ticket for Godspell. Like I said, our very own Seaside, Brianna has produced this show, and it's got definitely the edge of the new generation brought to a show that's 2,000 years old. It brings in the Proverbs, really, or the stories of that one finds pretty much in Matthew. So, but anyway, there's a lot going on at Seaside, and I could keep talking about them, but I want to pray. So I want to invite any of our religious science practitioners to please stand. And as we can feel this upliftment of energy, there is a life force that is alive, that is real, that is dynamic. For the blessings of God moves through this moment, and each of us becomes that place of the divine realization of that life force. I feel it, I sense it, and as I come into greater alignment, I know that I am spirit expressing. For the beauty and the grace of God has its way in this moment, and there's nothing that can deny that. And so as I move with a new thought upon an old situation or dynamic in my life, I find the new thought takes precedent. And so if anyone here today is experiencing anything less than the joy and the well-being or the health, experiencing any constrictions or the human experience as one walks through this life, it is the experience of this world, a form, but it's not the spiritual truth. And then allow the spiritual truth to move into your field of awareness, filling your divine essence with the truth and the true source of life itself. And it's in this divine realization that the shift takes place, that the opening in the mind and the awareness has its way of receiving this grace, this good, and healing begins to happen, not because I'm telling God what to do, but because I become available to that true realization of health and wholeness and abundance and well-being and divine unfoldment. And so wherever there is a place of conflict and concern, I choose to allow myself to know the presence of God there in the midst. And that's all I need to know. I need not say how it has to be fixed. I just open up to knowing. I become that vibration and that frequency of the divine realization, and healing happens. And the pain resolves, and deeper understanding heals. Bodies respond. Relationships unfold. I know it's true for Seaside, for Seaside continues to grow and evolve and expand. There's an aliveness, there's a thriving that is going on. Prayer requests are being answered. For Tom Schlossenhauer, his mom, Ethel, who made her transition, to know that she moves on with the ease and the grace and the natural expression of life itself. For Mary Gorman, our accompanist for our choir, her daughter Laura, who's in the hospital we know right now, I know that the presence of God is right there, moving in all the ways that are perfect and right for her divine healing. And for Deb Johnson, knowing that she moves on with those wonderful currents of life and love and peace. And Glenn, her husband, and children left behind are surrounded with a deep love. Love. With love, all things are okay. So I'm grateful to stand in this moment with a divine realization and allow myself to be that in expression. Grateful to know that healing takes place. This is the natural unfoldment. I choose to let go, and I trust in a higher power, knowing that Seaside continues to do the spiritual work, that continues to grow, that there's aliveness, that things are a success. So I let go, and I trust, and I believe in the divine right action that's here and now. So it is. Amen.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for
affirmation is, I am one with God and God knows all. Together, I am one with God and God knows all. Touch your heart and say that again. I am one with God and God knows all. One more time. I am one with God and God knows all. And our song of grace.
I'm living in love, I'm living in peace, I'm living my life for what I believe, through joys and through fears. In this world I walk, God's grace shines on me, and it shines on us all. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We're living in love. We're living in peace. United we stand as one family. We honor all truth as together we walk. God's grace moves through me, and it moves through us all. We are living in grace. 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 All right, Seaside. Have a wonderful week, everybody.